today we're gonna talk about my track Stardust, and we'll begin with the breakdown. So we have this lead, like a variation of the main melody that goes in the drop. So let's listen to it. So this is the melody, the sub-melody of the breakdown. Let's now hear the melody of the drop. Yeah, so if we analyze the melody, just the melody, we can see that here it's going up in notes. Here it's like an answer, and this is an answer for this question. So it's like kind of like always answering and questioning itself. And if you compare it with the second variation of the melody, it is pretty much the same but with different notes. So here is the fifth of the scale, with the main melody is the first note of the scale, the tonic, which is B because it's B minor. This is also the same, exactly the same, actually. The only difference is in the start, and we can actually compare it like this. So this is the only difference, actually. So here also there's two variations. And the second time it's... So interesting things going on with the melodies. Just every time it's a little change that really sounds different. Really sounds like a different part of the song. It builds a story, so it's not like that complicated. It's just taking the main melody and then making adjustments and variations to this main melody. So it's super important to have your main idea first, then you can actually expand this idea into many variations. Oh, it's super cool. So this is the melody. Let's see what else we have in the breakdown. The high pad, which creates a lot of atmosphere in the background. Yeah, so also here there's a lot of pitch bend going on and cool stuff, and also the glide in Diva, kind of a guitar, I could say. We have this pad with the chords. Yeah, so the chords is basically G major, E minor, B minor. So it's an inversion. The F sharp is the lowest note, but it's an inversion of the B minor chord. This is an inversion of the D major chord. This is like G major with the ninth note. We don't even usually we don't even like play the chord itself with all the notes that should be here. That should be the chord basically, like this, G, B, D. But you can like bring it an octave up and then use the ninth of the chord. Let's hear how it is without it, like with this. Which is also cool, but this is like more melancholic in a way. So it's kind of cool to do this stuff. I really love to experiment with all the tension notes that are not a part of the chord necessarily. This is an E minor without any tension, uh, without any tension notes. So if I put this G here, we can see E minor. F sharp is the inversion, of course, so this is B minor. And here it's D major. If I put this A up, you can see D major. And if we think about the degrees in the scale, this is the sixth notes in the scale. This is the fourth, this is the first, this is the third. So if we are in B minor, B, this is 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I know this is the sixth of the scale. and this is the fourth of the scale, and this is the first because it's been minor, and this is the third because it is here. 1, 2, 3. Why knowing it? Why knowing like the degrees of the chords? It can give you a really good tool to use. I mean, I know, for example, that starting a track with the sixth note, with the sixth chord, sometimes it can be very emotional, sometimes it can be very dramatic, sometimes I know the feeling I want to deliver with the chords. So if you have this tool, and you know how every degree in the scale sounds and which feeling it gives you, you can actually use it every time you want to create this feeling again. So it's very cool, I gotta say. Fourth degree, always like melancholic and sad. First degree, always solid and grounded. Third degree of the minor scale is always giving hope. Usually gives hope, gives like feeling of like suddenly everything is not so tough, or it really depends, of course, if you use it as a chord or you use it as a bass note, because there's also like a blues scale. Basically, you can use it for a lot of stuff. If you know the degrees, if you know the scales, give you a huge advantage. With that being said, also not knowing what you're doing, sometimes it is beautiful, because if you go with your mind too much, you can create good stuff, but sometimes you need to like have this intuition that something is good and something is not. So going like with this mindset of only rules can also play a bit of against you. So it's like a combination of using your knowledge, which I really believe that can give you a lot of tools, and I really love knowledge, and I really love learning, but also knowing like, okay, not everything is going to be by the rules. Sometimes you gotta break the rules and do what sounds good. So this is like, I think, the perfect balance. Yes, we have this arpeggiator here, which is basically playing the main melody of almost the main melody of the drop. Let's listen to it. But here we have a variation, and also here we have a variation. So again, it's like the main melody, but every time a bit different. So it creates this feeling that everything is really solid. The idea of the track is really clear, but also we take this idea of this clear melody and play with it with a lot of variations, as I said earlier. So let's hear it with the main melody. Yeah, so it adds so much color to the melody. Something that you can really use using this rule of the third. If my melody plays D, then I can play the third from D. So D is 1, 2, 3. And then I have like a second melody, or a back melody that can really give a lot of color and feeling to the main melody, the main idea. Super common with choirs. The way they sound so big is like multiplying a lot of notes from the chords, and then it sounds so epic and so big. We have the bass. Yes, so instead of always like doing the long notes, which is also really great, if the track needs only straight notes, that's completely fine. Sometimes it is necessary to just keep it simple. I always like to give these variations with the octaves and the notes in between, because if you think about it, like a bass player wouldn't play only straight notes. He will also play like notes in between, give his own like characteristics. That's why I like to do these kind of stuff. It doesn't have to be too much, just a little. Then it becomes more interesting. And then it goes to the build-up. The build-up is basically just the breakdown with the snares going up, really straight, simple snares. Yeah, and this kind of now we're looking at the drop. We have two sections to the drop, which are cool contrast between the beginning of the drop and the climax of the drop. I started with doing this, the climax. I thought about, hey, how can I make it unique with the arrangement, with the what's happening along the track. So I decided to put this energy a bit like afterwards and enter with this, which is kind of cool, I think. Not giving it all at the beginning of the drop. What I did is really simple. I just didn't use all the instruments. I just used the melody, the bass. I have a sub bass. Usually I don't use a sub bass, but here it was necessary because the bass itself didn't sound like it was like deep enough and cutting through the low end in the mix. So I did use a sub there. Basically, the bass is really like hard and harsh. Yes, and here I just using filter closed. Yeah, and slowly it opens up. Yep, so this is what it does. So the drop begins like this. And then just before the drop, it goes up. Yeah, so here it was like, how do I like make this transition between this calm like energy, this massive energy, and I think the contrast came really good because so there's not too much around here. It's like the bass, the arpeggiator from the breakdown. But now it's playing something a bit different because the melody is different. So I didn't want to do this just the same as this. So it's like taking the basic and simple stuff and just playing with them, as I said earlier, again and again. This high pad, of course, from the breakdown, also here in the second time of this drop, this goes up. The hi hat. Pretty intense, and also this. So basically, I just used samples that I really liked. Put some room reverb to make it more like in the feeling of the track. Nothing too complicated. Here, I just like took a percussion sound, just SRM to put some distortion on the reverb, and came out really cool. I have this synth shot, also a sample with a lot of reverb. But when I use sounds, I do like to transpose them so they sound different. So if it's really good, I don't do anything to it. I think it's just making sure to pick the right sounds. Basically, that's pretty much it. One last thing, that the melody opens up with cutoff, of course, and here it's like pretty open, but not that open that it will like be too much. I didn't want it to lose its character. Like the character of this lead is like being like more plucky sound, and I did try to do this, but then it sounds like a bit slower in a way. So I intentionally wanted to give it a bit groovy, and yeah, this what made the energy here like pretty much like this. It sounds like a progress from this part. So I really hope you took a lot of inspiration all this tutorial. So if you like this video, hit subscribe. I have also my radio show, Big Heart Radio, with a lot of great trance, techno, house, great tracks, and also my unreleased songs. So there's a lot to expect. See you guys in the next video. Hope you liked it. Cheers.